Yeah, okay. It is rolling for real. Slight delay in getting this week's episode out due to scheduling conflicts and I don't know, timing, uh, etc. Whatever you want to chalk it up to. What the how the fuck do we want to start this? Just launch right into collegiate shit. Got the tab open, might as well. We will resume from where we left off. The last episode, of course, was on Wednesday the 7th. It is now Friday the 16th of January 2026. We can now commence with every NCAA D1 major result that has occurred since then. Sorry for being a little fidgety here. So I this was the first game I watched after the World Juniors, if I remember correctly. At least on the dev level. I had as much as I'm a non-believer in, I don't know why they continue to promote this. That was a long time ago in the grand scale. He is in the pros now. He is lighting it up with the San Jose Sharks. We do not need to be reminded of what he did in his DY. It is passe. Anyway, as much as I'm a non-believer in this Penn State team, they don't sponsor our show, the brand I am drinking right now, so I'm trying to make it discreet. Maybe one day they will. Um, I kind of had a hunch as they went up in this game that Bob Motzko was not going to be able to rally his squad, to the point where I actually shut it off well before the third period ended. I just was like, "There's not going to be a comeback," and I ended up being right. I checked in on the box score and stuff, and so you saw that he was a little late to pull. Was it DePasco? And yeah, I was trying to remember if he ran him for this game as well. Just not a lot of time left to overcome a 3-goal lead. I think I might have even shut that off when they went up 3-0 because I was like, I've known Motzko's teams and their lack of mental fortitude well enough, at least in the University of Minnesota portion of his career, to know that this game is going to end with this final score line, if not worse for him and his team. So I was like, as soon as they went up 3-0, as soon as the Nittany Lions took a 3-0 lead over the Minnesota Golden Gophers, I was like, yeah, this is done. And I was right. That was the final score. Uh, Luke Mesa had a 1 goal and 1 assist game for the only multi-point performance of the evening. And yeah, there's nothing really to say there. Let's see. Cornell put up a touchdown and an extra point against the Alaska Fairbanks Nanooks. Uh, yeah, I mean, this went kind of the way you would anticipate. Ken Ryan, 2 goals in this matchup. Uh, it's interesting to note that the period did end. Uh, you know, uh, with a 1-1 tie. And honestly, I'm gonna say this. I thought that, Kelvin Vachon put them in a decent enough situation before that third period unraveling. That was my personal opinion on the matter anyway. But yeah, obviously it didn't plan out that way. Um, Providence pumped Maine 6-1 in a ranked Hockey East matchup. Um, yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, Roger McQueen did get on the board twice in this game. This is probably the best game of his collegiate career to this point. I was pretty satisfied with that. Um, yeah, Jonathan Poirier. Sorry, Justin Poirier is reading Jonathan Fauchon's name at the same time, which was inadvisable. Uh, Continues his productivity by having an assist in this matchup, but it didn't. It was an empty calorie point in the grand scale. Um, yeah, very convincing performance there at home for the Friars. Dartmouth retains good form to start the year. Of course, well, as they did to start the year, I should say. We're pretty deep into the collegiate season now. It's past its midway point officially, even though the spring semester hasn't started yet for many institutions on an academic level. Um, yeah, 5-4 win over intra-conference rivals. Harvard with Hayden Stavroff, who's had a very good season, 2 goals and 1 assist in this matchup. That was on 3 shots on goal, so efficient offensive performance there. Jason Stefanik, 2 assists. Eric Charpentier, 2 assists, 1 goal and 2 assists for Hank Cleaves, another guy on that team I like a lot. Colin Grable, 2 assists. Jack Silverberg with a goal. Emmett Croto, 20 saves, good enough to get the job done. Let's see. UMass Lowell defeated UConn 5-3 at the venue formerly known as the Hartford Civic Center, which had a decent turnout and a pretty loud audience. But they took the crowd out of it. Of course, UConn did make a pretty good third period push, but ultimately didn't get the job done. It's worth noting that the last 2 times that UMass Lowell has beat a nationally ranked opponent, they were wearing their alternate jerseys, which I'm not a big fan of, really. But hey, maybe there's some magic there. Yeah, Jay Ahern, 2 goals in that matchup. Luke Shipley scored his first ever NCAA goal in this matchup. Jack Varwerk, goal and an assist. 2 assists for Dylan Bentley. 2 assists for Sean Kilcullen, who's been pretty quiet to the point this season, from what I remember. Yeah, I don't hear his name often. All right, come on, come on. Gonzaga College. Wow. What do you know? Ex Maryland high school player right here. Of course, did work his way up to the null. Yeah, like these are account for. Of course, he's not really there to be offensively productive, but these account for 2 of his 4 points on the season. He is a +5, and with the team getting caved on most nights, I do think this is one of those outlier circumstances where plus minus actually means something. So there's that. Yeah, he missed a lot of last year with injuries. Like, it's funny because I think the health bug was a problem for them last year, but not as much as it was the season before. But yeah, right now the situation with them is not conditioning. It's just a lack of collegiate experience. I do think a lot of these guys can be good college players. But there's just so many freshmen acclimating to a new cultural environment and a new set of demands, a new comp level. Because let's face it, I'm sorry, it's not close. NCAA is better than the CHL. Um, it's just a harder environment. Um, we've seen it with some of these CHL to NCAA transfers that are even higher profile than you know um, the likes of some pretty respectable guys on this squad not doing as well as they could. Ironically, Austin Elliott is probably in the top 5, I think, of best CHL to NCAA players, and I would say Justin Poirier is as well. Um, but it just hasn't. The problem is the team doesn't score enough goals. It's suffering from the same and really just gets killed in possession so much. And like the bend don't break thing is not working for them this year. Um there are some results to be proud of, but the team is not performing up to standard. And but that's just gonna happen until these guys cut their teeth a bit more. And but like, yeah, Elliott obviously I would argue is probably one of the best goaltenders in the country already. It's just he doesn't play for one of the best teams or anything even really close to it. So yeah. Like I would I definitely like really think that you know, you put him in Jack Ivankovic's situation, although he is injured and will be out for several weeks. It won't be the rest of the season from the official correspondence that was put forward. But, um, I do think he would be putting up even better numbers if he were placed in his situation. Really a rough go for him. He comes back from the WJC, and which of course was you know, once again did not go the way Canada wanted it to, and that he suffers a pretty serious injury. And they did win 5-2 over the Fighting Irish in this game, and honestly, I thought it was fairly competitive. It's deceiving scoreline here. Yeah, you saw the likes of Michael H and Malcolm Spence tallying points in that matchup. Uh, I feel like Spence is starting to put it together a bit. I've liked what I've seen from him recently. Is he one of the best CHL to NCAA players? Probably not. But I mean, that's very respectable in contrast with the struggles that some of his peers are having. He is insulated by being on a good team, of course, but all the best recruits are. They went to the Blue Bloods for a reason. Uh, God, I just have uh I just have all that I'm like I'm brain rotted right now. Not as bad as I've been recently. I am a little dead, but not too much. A micro dosing death, you might say, but I am brain dead enough to where I just have a variety of like millennial whoopcore songs fading in and out of my head. It's like I'm on the school bus in my sophomore year of high school again. Fucking A. Um, I'm thinking of some personal lore. It involves Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People, and a particular cover version of it that was performed at, of course, a band that is very relevant to Black Stitch Hockey lore via Calamon. You know what? I'm just gonna accept that for as long as I'm doing this show by myself, I am going to um, go on these sort of unrelated tangents as they come to my brain because I'm trying not to lose my mind. And you need to have some personality in this, I guess. And sometimes that involves, divergences. Uh, so the first band, I mean, the first show that Christian and fellow founding member Damien, uh, also known as Lenny, um, and myself have performed in ironically, I'd say on and off, but that mostly applies to Christian and myself. We've had times of varying lengths, not in the band, with Damien being the sole constant member and really the guy it comes back to all the time, which is kind of ironic when you consider how the opposite side of things, where he is now an affiliate of ours on the D3 Brothers podcast, which may be resuming fairly soon. No promises. because of course Christian, his life is very different as of late, which is why he shifted the focus of his activities a bit on when it comes to brand related matters. We played at a Battle of the Bands thing for the Relay for Life and Best Buddies, if I remember correctly. It was at the high school in our town's auditorium, and there was this group of young kids who ended up winning the whole thing that performed a cover of "Pumped Up Kicks" with the lyrics completely uncensored. Not that there's profanity, but we all remember what's in that chorus, and that just lives in my head rent free every day. Like wow, the dude literally, the singer just went gangweed, gamers rise up. In that setting, when he was not even high school age himself, probably, and, man, that really was that was just one of many moments that made that night iconic, and that was almost 11 years ago, and I am living in the past, but anyways, yeah, so what else happened? Let's see. Wisconsin blanked Alaska Anchorage 5-0, which isn't surprising because the Seawolves are to be trifled with as opposed to the Badgers who are in Wu-Tang Clan status. They ain't nothing to fuck with. This is more or less what I said in our group me last night, ironically enough. But yeah, I will make the reference very clear this time. Let's see. Omaha defeated St. Cloud by a score of 6-2 in the matchup of teams that I like. Yeah, well, look, I'm fine with having the ad blocker on to prevent this because I'm not trying to run highlights right now. As a matter of fact, I should mute the audio in case something happens. I usually do that before the episode starts, but the beginning to this was thrown together rather haphazardly. I still was not entirely certain if I was going to be able to do this today, but that ended up not being for naught. But yeah, it was a little bit of a rush. There were also some minor technical issues, nothing too bad to start off with. So, but I just started off on a weird foot, so I forgot to take some of the steps I normally would. Excuse me. Yeah, great performance in net by Dawson Cowan, who really, honestly, a low key, very good CHL to NCAA player as well. He's been very impressive between the pipes for that squad. Marcus Newman, another guy I've liked for a long time. Go on that matchup. Um, yeah, obviously I do not like these games because I am fond of both of these schools' hockey programs as just those chippy underdogs. But in the Midwest, that amongst a bunch of blue bloods that occasionally punch above their weight and have solid cultures around them. But the Lancers, I mean, the Mavericks. Sorry, I went USHL brain there for a second. They had they needed this win more, so I'm glad that they got it. In any event, yeah, should I just move on? Yeah, BU blanked UMass Amherst 1-0. Jack Harvey with the one goal in this matchup with assists from Aiden Celebrini and Sasha Boisvert. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yes, the Pioneers very much disappointed me in this matchup. Really, just they did not have any teeth to them in this game at all. Like I know they had the 36 shots on net, but they just did not impress me. Like I just don't know what to say really. Like yeah, I the scoreline is a little deceptive in a way, but I do also think that Denver just did not have a lot of tenacity through this matchup where like Western Mish they brought the fight in it to this matchup and they worked out. Denver tried all they could towards the end there with the netminder pull, but they lost a game that they deserved to lose. I thought Boston Buckburger. Yeah, I wish I could remember how that goal call went. It was pretty good. Yeah, so riddle me this. The Spartans, you know, so they did what they should have done the night before with that 6-2 win, where Porter Martone did what he should do with his in his own return matchup from the WJC with 2 goals and 2 assists. Riker Lee gets on the board. Charlie Stramel, 2 goals in this matchup, and one of the best games of his collegiate career to this point as well. Um, as well as one primary assist. Riker Lee also had a secondary. Um, yeah, all those guys, really did what they should in this sort of matchup. Riker Lee also, of course, a returnee from the WJC, albeit from the U.S. as opposed to Martone's Canada, captain of that bronze medal winning squad. Lee, of course, disappointing tournament, not individually, although there were some. I did have issues with uh, his performance at times, but I really think a lot of just the team's issues in that, like in terms of individual performance, even could be tracked to back to poor preparation and a lack of mental fortitude instilled in what a certain jilted former coach, now once again TV personality, would refer to as the rum. I just genuinely think it should have been Firstweiler. It shouldn't have been Motzko because Motzko doesn't instill, mental toughness and preparedness in his teams. To that point, it seems as though in the return fixture, well, of course, it's not really a return fixture in the traditional sense of the word because it was you know, it's just a 2 game series played at OSU. But in the secondary fixture, of course, Martone scores the GTG, but um, the Spartans nevertheless lose 2-1 as Davis Burnside complements Nathan Lewis' earlier goal with a goal of his own, a little past the midway point in the third period, and that was enough to get the job done and pull off the upset. And really, they were just outplayed by them all throughout. Like, I think this is like, you know, I think the stats are actually very reflective of how that game was, where they just were outworked, outperformed, outpossessed by an inferior team. It's like, did you take a mental vacation just because you beat them the night before? That's not going to help you. Nevertheless, the number 2 went down to an unranked squad within their conference, and yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. Wisconsin had a close call against the Sea Wolves with only a 3-2 victory, um, as they did let it get interesting towards the end, albeit, they had a decent edge throughout, definitely dominated at the draw, on the draw slash at the dot, as you can see here. But yeah, like the Seawolves really pushed in the third, and they very nearly tied this up. So, like, this was not, you know, nothing to be trifled. They were not to be trifled with that night. Nearly a, you know, a disaster there, embarrassment, whatever you want to call it, for Wisconsin. But yeah, not anywhere near as embarrassing as this. It's hard to beat the same team twice, but man, you know, UML went back to the Zongus Center after defeating UConn in Hartford, not even in Stores, in Hartford, by, multiple goals, albeit, they did need an empty netter, but they were the better team throughout that whole process, only for them to go back home to Lowell and get absolutely embarrassed by their best forwards. They just did not have it. Shipley scores his second goal of his career against the same team he scored his first against the previous game. It's cool that Budazzoni and Wakely got assists as well as guys who I think need the numbers right now. Budazzoni especially as he's trying to prove himself as a freshman playing alongside his older brother. But like it was on the power play, and then they just get clapped mostly on a even strength for throughout most of the rest of the game. You got Maldoni and Richard both with fucking multi-point games. It just was not good. I have nothing to say. Both of them had 3-point games each because Maldoni had an assist as well. Um, Yeah, Caden Sheehan, 2 goals, Ryan Tattle, a goal and an assist. Yeah, that the Moldoni and Richard show just popping off was the defining characteristic of that game, and I'm embarrassed about it. Of course, I have my own reasons for why UML as a learning institution is already declining in my estimations. Which, of course, I had the right to say that in a public forum without fear of reprisal. But in the interest of brand professionalism, I will not. I will not say why I'm frustrated with my college, um, and why I'm increasingly, you know, uh, finding myself not interested in becoming a formal part of their alumni community. At least, other than, networking with fellow alumni, they won't be getting any donations from me for a variety of reasons, but that is something I will not comment on, in the interest of professionalism. If you want to ask, by all means, you can DM me about that. I just do not want to have, the specific comments in mind, the be something that I espouse while on a Black Stitch product for different reasons. Uh, anyway, of course, but to that point though, culturally, I am proud to be part of the student body. Uh, Mostly. Um, and as such, I consider that our teams, our athletic programs representative of us and not just the institution itself. Uh, so it always kind of is rough for me when we had to take shit on the chin like this. It happened a lot this year, and I'm not particularly surprised by it, although I am disappointed. That it's just I recognize this is something that's just gonna take time, but like it's just yeah, it hasn't been great. Uh, but we'll see what happens in like a couple of years. Um, let's see. Yeah, Denver managed to be worse in this game than they were in the first. They just yeah, this time I feel like the stats are even these stats are even more deceiving. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. The funny numbers. Anyway, yeah, I mean, fucking 5 unanswered goals is really the story here. They just got fucking destroyed when it came to, you know, uh, finishing. They didn't impress me with their effort at all in this game. I don't really have anything to say other than William Whitelaw is a beast with a very cool name. I've always been fond of him for the combination of his combination of name and game. Anyway, do I want to move on from this? Yeah, UMass Amherst got some revenge by blanking the Terriers by a score of 2-1, 2-0. Sorry. In this matchup, Empty netter, of course, got the job done. They held on, preserved the shutout, and got the win. Let's see. The game-winning goal was scored by Vaclav Nestrasil, who's a guy he does catch my attention from time to time. Um, no, 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 not the right guy. Yeah, I'm a little congested. It's actually not as bad as it sounds if you are able to notice that in the audio. Oh, hello, Mason West. Yeah, obviously good enough to where he was drafted in the first round. This past year, uh, decent track record overall of team success. Got good tools. You know, I definitely agree with the assessment about his high work rate. It's something I noticed when he was in the USHL, especially on that postseason run. Yeah, obviously over a point per game, very translatable player as a freshman. Um, Sneakily having a very, very good season. That's all I can really say. Yeah, more on these tabs in a bit. Jack Musa got the empty netter to ice it. Blah 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 blah. Actually, now that I think about it, as a prelim, yeah, this was a noteworthy result. Of course, the it took overtime. They couldn't quite get it done in regulation, thanks to a game-tying goal by Ben Strinden. But ultimately, the Colorado College boys, the Tigers were able to put away the North Dakota Fighting Hawks in overtime to defeat. So with an unranked opponent with a losing record, defeating the number four ranked squad in the league. Um, as a matter of fact, I want to take a look at something here. Yeah, who leads the team in points right now? Yeah, Lazowski's not that high on the list. Yeah, Owen Beckner, has got the most points while playing only 16 games. Not a lot of offensive firepower on this squad on top of that. Um, how about the goalie situation? Yeah, I wish Jackson Hunger were getting more reps, but what are you gonna do? Um, but yeah, that's just a side thought that I had. God, I am fucking exhausted. Need to drink more of this. We all know what it is. I'm just not giving them shine. Just think of Adam Friedland when he was drinking like the Icelandic water. I think it was believe it was the episode that David Hogg was on. He's like, I don't know why I'm showing this. They don't sponsor our show. Icelandic. I bet it's from New Jersey. And Hogg is just like, yeah, some good old Hoboken water. But anyway, yeah. Nevertheless, like Philippe Blaise Savoy, with an assist from Wilson Bjork at that. Um, huh, th- that's interesting to think. Like, let's get some perspective here. A guy with the gold medal with a yeah, and I'm gonna show it to you. Like we all saw it happen. We just did. Like a guy with a gold medal at the World Juniors, who was a fifth round pick. The Vancouver Canucks in this most recent draft is with the Colorado College Tigers. Like they sent a guy to the WJC and he won the whole thing. He didn't play a lot. Like his younger brother is already a better player than him, and it's not particularly close. Uh, but I mean, look at this stud. You know, uh, a third of a PPG in the SHL is not easy at that age. He's not doing what Ivar Stenberg is, and I have been validated increasingly, even though Björk kind of put his name on the radar a little bit sooner, that I thought Stenberg was going to be better. Ivar, of course, in the long run, I think that aged well when I pivoted to him being the guy I believed in the most. Of course, really, this is a huge tangent because this guy does not play in a North American league. Uh, and I'm not justified in this because the World Juniors, the one time alongside other underage tournaments where I'm justified in covering non-North American talents, uh, which really is just European talents because no other continents produce you know um, noteworthy NHL talents in high volume, or really any volume. Like, you don't really see guys who are trained in outside that. And yes, I'm counting Russia as part of Europe. I don't care. I'm not getting into the semantics of this. It's not worth my time. But nevertheless, like, it's some interesting perspective setting that Wilson Bjork is on that squad and doing damage in that capacity. But at least in spurts. It did, of course, was it arguably cardio? Sure. Does he have a low ceiling? Yeah, but that guy is there for the low tier, D1 Colorado based hockey program with a World Junior gold medal to his name. But yeah, of course, nevertheless, there's no way they were going to win that matchup uh, twice. So North Dakota did get their revenge on Colorado College the next night. Let's see. Cole Rechny scored a goal. Keaton Verhoff, yeah, he also had a primary assist, as did Keaton Verhoff. Yeah. Anything else worth talking about? I mean, EJ Emery, secondary assist. I was just thinking about him, funny enough. Yeah. The reason being, of course, that now the New York Rangers are at the point where they just put out the letter 2, the sequel to the original from 2018 today. Unreal. But yeah, this one more like the way you would expect. Good effort from the Tigers. It's just like, wasn't going to happen 2 nights in a row probably. Vermont did beat Northeastern that night 5-3 for a win against a ranked opponent. Philip Tornquist will an assist. Jackson Fismer, 2 assists, 2 goals from Jen Richards. Jen's Richards, sorry. Um, Colin Kessler, 2 assists. Yeah, I don't know. Do we want to just move on from this weekend? Or yeah, we'll talk about the St. Cloud versus Omaha game, and then we'll move on to the next phase. Barrett Hall, 1 goal. Ethan Aucoin, 1 goal. 20 saves by Jan Shostak in the victory. Nothing really spectacular to talk about there. Long Island University defeated Stonehill 3-2, but who really cares, honestly? Boston University defeated Harvard 4-1 in a game that they started off on the wrong foot. Of course, Joe Miller got the first goal of the matchup. And then it was right after that that I tuned in, and they just took over. There wasn't any doubt from there. Like, they just completely crushed it in that second period, and then Harvard kind of played them even in the third, but they nevertheless gave up 2 more goals. And yeah, see, last night there was the Michigan versus Wisconsin game. There was at least one instance in this matchup where I felt like yeah, on the game tying goal by Oliver Tulk, uh you know, it was noteworthy that there were 4 Spartans just, like, trying to win a puck battle, leaving, him wide open in front of the net, and he scored. And that was, I believe, after a failed clearance as well. So they just, like, fucked that one up. And that was a big of course, they had the response from there, but, like, a preventable thing where everyone is just all in on getting a puck out of the corner, leaving one man open is the reason why that was a tight game. Of course, they scored the next 3 goals, but, the next 2 goals by Wisconsin are inconsequential. They're just not stupid as a defensive unit. And nevertheless, they were able to eke this one out. The game, of course, ended with some extracurriculars, which didn't really amount to anything. Tiernan Shouty was assessed a game misconduct from a check from behind, which was really the only real discipline that was assessed. But he is eligible to play tonight. He was not assessed any further discipline from that. Uh, and yeah, of course tonight, uh, that game is going on along with Providence versus Boston College. At Kelly Rink. Um, Princeton versus Cornell. Who would have thought that would be a top 20 matchup going into the year? Dartmouth takes on Clarkson. Uh, let's see. Boston University versus UMass Lowell, Part 1 at Agganis Arena before they face each other at the Zongus on Saturday night, which is really just tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. Is it not? I could have sworn. Yeah, it's just got a later start because of, the fact that they're on Central Time, that's what it is. Yeah, 4 versus 2. Michigan versus Minnesota is also going down tonight. I do expect, I think despite their underdog status here, it's not like it's guaranteed that, the Golden Gophers are going to get destroyed or anything, but, I'm not terribly optimistic that we'll see the better version of them. Like, man, oh my god, what are these ads, dude? S Anyway, let's just pretend we didn't see that. We all know what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, Minnesota Duluth versus St. Cloud, North Dakota versus Denver, Alaska on Alaska matchup, goes down at 11 PM Eastern Standard Time tonight if you're up late and want to watch some form of hockey. With the Seawolves and Nanooks facing off each against each other. Yeah, it's the most memorable. Those are the most notable matchups. We'll look ahead to tomorrow too, I guess. A fair number of rematches, although Princeton does take on Colgate for a little bit of variance. Merrimack versus Massachusetts for those who just want to watch Hockey East for whatever reason, no matter what the who's playing. Not a very good conference this year. They might not have an auto bid at all. Like I genuinely will not be surprised if no one is good enough in the NPI to get an at-large bid and they only send a conference winning squad this year. And quite frankly, whoever wins that isn't going to go very far probably. It's just we didn't do we did not win at all in this recruitment cycle. Like what BU looked good on paper and that they were going to be able to compete with the Midwestern squads and this like the general NCHC and Big 10 circuit this year because they did do well in a nominal sense in recruiting, but they are not particularly impressive. They're good enough to where they're going to probably crush UML in both of these games, but that doesn't really mean anything, in the grand scale. Like I am honestly not as overrated that as I think that Penn State continues to be even now. I genuinely think that they would probably demolish you know, uh, BU 9 times out of 10, or at least beat them that many times. Like, I just am not really impressed by the performances from the big names this year on that squad. They did notably get an upgrade to the roster in Tynan Lawrence. Interesting. Well, of course, is a top 10 ranked prospect for this draft for a reason. And it was interesting how it played out because Carter Amico went to Muskegon, so effectively it was an NCAA to USHL trade. Um, but in any event, it's interesting, because Zach Carbonneau, of course, is now a Muskegon Lumberjacks commit, having pivoted off from the QMJHL path that people anticipated that he would take. A very interesting choice in the CHL to NCAA era. It's not really a necessary thing if you want to go to college anymore, but that was the choice he made. And Carter Amigo reporting to Muskegon from BU while being a Flyers prospect with I'm not the first to point this out, but with Zach Carbonneau being Danny Briere's nephew as well, something that it's interesting when he was first on the rise as a prospect, this wasn't talked about much, but then it increasingly became that. So what I wonder is this isn't just me being, a copium person, a copium huffer, I guess. Because of my Philadelphia Flyers fandom, I do wonder if there's a plan in place for Philly to somehow engineer drafting Tynan Lawrence in this draft. It's definitely a hypothetical worth pondering. But yeah, now that we're done with NCAA, we can recap the OHL Top Prospects game, which of course is now known as the Connor McDavid OHL Top Prospects game. Uh, Fairly justifiably so, I would say. This recap is from the Ice Dogs website. Can I find something better? This is another thing I should have done in prep, but I did not. Yeah, here's from the CHL's website directly. Team West defeated Team East by a score of 4-3. Um, let's see. Igor Barbanov of the Saginaw Spirit scored the first goal of the matchup on a pretty nice dangle. Let's see. Ryder Kelly had a response on the power play by establishing a solid net front presence. Adam Novotny, who I still have some level of optimism for. I think he could very well, be something useful at the next level. Let's take a look at his stats really quickly. I haven't checked in on him in a minute. Yeah, he really that Helenka run was the first time I really, really thought, oh, there might be something here. Yeah, he's over at PPG, not by a lot, but like he's having a respectable rookie season in the O. Uh, I like how that's considered 3 games, even though it was one in a super. It was two in a super overtime. Nikita Klepov, yeah, some good representation from the Saginaw Spirit in this game. Guelph also had some of their guys show out in this matchup as well. Yeah, Klepov, of course, with his 1 goal and 2 assists, was named player of the game. Uh, with Novotny earning it for Team East with his 2 goals. Um, yeah, the Peterborough Petes have, are developing something good there. Yeah, I was hoping for a bigger showing from Brady Wasselin, but at least he factored into his team winning in a competitive matchup. Yeah, really good showing from both Jovanovski and Shurigan, honestly, in between the pipes. Yeah, Guelph just has a young team. Got younger, of course, with Luchenko having been traded to Brantford. But yeah, I think there could be something there for them in the next few years, maybe. We'll see. Um, yeah, Caleb Malhotra is very good. 2 assists in this matchup for him. He's definitely a guy who I think is going to be. He seems to be the next William Nylander. Like, I think much like Will's vastly superior status to as a player to Michael. Caleb Malhotra is going to be the next. He is going to be way better than Manny. Much like I think Gabriel Peralt has a higher ceiling than Yannick ever did, but it's the question is, does he get there? He certainly is going to have a lot on his plate with the dev environment he'll be in the NHL henceforth. With the organizational direction of the New York Rangers being very fucking confusing to say the least, as Christian and I meditated on earlier, like literally right before this happened. And now we'll close things out with some MIAA. Let's see. In the past, since then, some noteworthy performances. St. John's Shrewsbury defeated St. John's Prep by a score of 5-1. We'll deep dive in that since these are two very highly touted programs. These are two of the best teams in the Catholic Conference. Of course, St. John's Prep went in ranked second, and St. John's went in third. But nevertheless, Shrewsbury, of course, the defending state runners up at the D1 level, emerged fourth, 5-1 victors. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I have a game log. Yeah, I don't know. I consult neutral zone mass for on Instagram for a number of things, but I don't actually check their website very often. I am definitely going to be using it as a resource henceforth. Yeah, Nico Santella, who had a very prolific offensive performance in this game, is a sophomore who is undersized and balancing this uh, schedule with AAA from what it looks like. Uh, and yet he is doing very well, it would seem. It's just kind of a dearth of information. You really have to read the papers to get these, get good details on this. Or, you can also check the statistical leaderboards. Yeah, this and HNIB are a godsend if you want like a good digital consultation thing. Yeah, who leads D1 in points right now? Matthew McGinty is up there. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I guess if goals take precedence, then the scoring lead in MIAA right now, uh, the title belongs to Ryan Ferguson of the Weymouth Wildcats, who has 13 goals and 2 assists in 9 games played. But oh my, wow, that ironic moment when you see the name of someone you went to high school with, incidentally, that's funny. Different person, obviously, due to the age gap, but I was not expecting to see that. Anyway, I like how on the opposite end of the spectrum you have Sean Carroll, the Hingham Harbor men, with 1 goal and 14 assists, also in that God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 way tie. There are 6 kids in MIAA D1 that are tied for the lead in points. Of course, Daniel Gentili of Xaverian has to be given an asterisk as he has played 10 games and the rest of the leaderboard has played 9. Yeah, McGinty is up there. Yeah, Santella's not far behind these guys. He's overing a point per game with 12 points to his name in 10 games played, 6 goals and 6 assists. Very good performance in this matchup against St. John's Prep. Uh, so he's at the top of the leaderboard with a lot working against him. Not a big kid at all. Like, has a demanding schedule as a youngster and is putting up points nevertheless. Not bad. Yeah, just a very dominant performance, really. Poor discipline at the end. Let's see what else. Arlington shuts out Reading 4-0. Let's see. Yeah, back-to-back shutout wins with a combined goal differential of 6-0 over Reading and Woburn, uh, this past week for the Spy Ponders. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so those were the 3 most recent games that are particularly noteworthy. Oh well, I guess we could shout out more recent. Yeah, the middies, Drake at Tingsboro, they took on Groton Dunstable, 4-0 in this D3 matchup. Yeah, let's see. Just we'll look at the cumulative standings for each division rather than meticulously go through every you know, single conference. Yeah, let's take a look at D3 where yeah, I mean right now they're Drake is in pretty good standing right now, as much as I hate to say it. Haverhill's doing all right. I feel like this is behind a little bit because I just definitely think, yeah. Why are they only quantifying these? Should I go on? Maybe I should go on HNIB. Maybe they'll have it, or we could just go on the fucking MIAA site itself. Or mass hockey is an option as well. I was looking at that earlier. Yeah. There you have Chelmsford and Billerica and MVC2 County 1. The Merrimack Valley Conference. Yeah, it's this shit is always tough. Tewksbury's undefeated. Waltham is as well. Yeah. Right now we've got the Methuen High School Rangers nipping at the heels of Drake. uh, with their record being what it is. Mm, I feel like this is out of date too, though. They played more games than that. So I get updates from them on their IG from time to time. Let me see. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We're here right now. What are you kidding? Spring 20. Where's spring 2026? Ah, forget it. Yeah, I don't know. Do I want to? There's also this site as well. Yeah, I think this is the most up to date website there is. Catholic Memorial is looking very solid again this year after having been the state champions at the D1 level last year. Burlington's looking pretty good. Xaverian, Waltham has yet to lose a game. St. John's running it back well after, having gone on that miracle run after encountering so much adversity in the beginning of the season last year and then making it to the state championship game. They fell, of course, to Catholic Memorial, but well, they shouldn't even. No one would even have thought that they were going to be there after the injuries and such, after starting with such an abysmal record at the beginning of it, then just, buckling down and doing what they did. Arlington has a 7-3 record to start the year. Using start as a euphemism for them having played 10 games, fairly deep into it now in the grand scale, like halfway point approximately. D2, let's see, Minichaw, I guess 9-2. Canton's undefeated at 9-0. Tewksbury's undefeated at 8-0. Amesbury's 7-4. Falmouth is 7-3-1. Let's see. Milton is 6-2. King Philip 7-2. Westwood 6-2. Those are the clear cut best teams. Kind of a weird up and down season for the Newburyport Clippers to this point. Beverly's looking all right at 5-3-1. Gloucester Fishermen 5-3-1. Billerica defending D2 champs are 5-3-1 to start the year. It was a long time coming for them. They waited quite a while for that. Despite having a very good lineage, and we all remember how good Tom Glavine was before he opted for the baseball path. They didn't win a state title in his day. D3. Let's see. Essex Tech has the best record right now at 8-2-1. But Nauset could usurp them if they win their next game. Of course, they're the defending Division Three champions after the boys down on Cape Cod had some heartbreak in the past, and then it was able to excise their demons and still remain relevant, even having lost some players from that squad. Bishop Stang is 7-2-1. Shawsheen Rams 7-2-1. Neshoba 7-1-1. Marlboro Panthers are undefeated at 7-0-1. Scituate Sailors 6-3-2. Medfield Warriors 7-2-0 to start the year, undefeated and through their. I mean, well, obviously not, but very solidly to start the year. Um, my brain just cramped there. Sorry. My was I? Yeah, Methuen is 6-2-1 to start the year, so they've got good form going. Uh, that literally doesn't make any sense at all. The yeah, see, I like this site but they don't understand how the games in hand concept works. Pembroke also has a 6-2-1 record. Yeah, Drake has a superior win percentage, so they should be above the Rangers. That's just because they can't be they can improve in their next game, they're standing over them, but they can't get worse. So, or they can draw perfectly level with them. That like those are the two options. They can't have a worse record than the Rangers in their next game. Haverhill Hillies 6-4-0. I don't know what it is. I was expecting a little bit more out of them, but yeah, just kind of in their interconference game so far. Perfectly even goal differential. But yeah, I show restraint when it comes to these kids because most of them are, minors, and like, they're this is just a part of their lives. Of course, it is for collegiate players as well, but yeah, you know, um, let's see. Can I get a game log? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, they were blanked 5-0. Then they turn around and defeat. Yeah, against Marlborough, they turned around and defeated Lowell by a score 7-1 in their next game. They won the Gardner Holiday tournament. They beat East Hampton 3-2 and then defeated Gardner Murdoch 9-1. And they traveled for that. Yeah, since then it's been a little uneven, as you can see. Because the thing is, other than I will say, yeah, I mean, back-to-back losses of four or more goals is rough. 6-1 against Drake and then 5-1 against Methuen. Not that I will complain too much about that. Uh, really at all. But yeah, there's some volatility with them since that tournament win. But yeah, that should do it. Yes, they really got to update this. Hey, I mean, they got the staff right anyway. That's not changing anytime soon. I literally hope Blackwell is there forever. He could probably turn them into an absolute powerhouse. He's already improved their fortune so much. I mean, they've been rattling off. What they've won the MVC D3 what 4 years in a row now? Like they gave him time and he built a winning culture there. Uh, just waiting for them to go on the same sort of run at states that the women's or girls team, I should say, is capable of. And I will attribute that basically as a Methuen thing. Like the output from Tewksbury has not been as significant in recent years. Last year there weren't any on them at all, and they still made it to the semifinals, even though they were running a ridiculously short bench as well. And of course, Dave O'Hearn was in the latter stages of his cancer battle, from which he eventually succumbed. But yeah, that should do it for this. Yeah. So to be forthright, this schedule is going to become very inconsistent. In fact, it's possible that the podcast gets put on hold for the foreseeable future, but I will attempt to compensate it from by putting articles out. Uh, as a matter of fact, let's see if I can get this running again. Hmm. Um, what's my run time? I didn't look. I was supposed to, and then I did not. Now almost at an hour and 10 minutes. That's not too bad. Yeah, now we're going. Of course, cut out part of the image here, but that's fine. You can't really see who that is right now, but you will momentarily. God, the picture's way too big. Yeah, a little less than me. If you waited it out this long, or you even cared enough to just fast forward to the end of this episode, you deserve a teaser. You will be the only one who knows because I will not put out any preliminary stuff about this. But this is our prospect of the week, even though we didn't discuss his league. I've really been impressed by his form recently, and I think his status, as having had increased draft stock is justified. Um, he's like knocking on a door held on the door of a franchise record held by Josh Morrissey for most power play goals by a defenseman in franchise history in a single season. I believe it was, or was it career? Let me double check on that. If anyone's messaging me right now, I'm sorry, I do not care. Let's see. Well, I care, but not enough to where I'm gonna interrupt this episode. No messages. Yep, single season. I was right. Okay. Or was I? Yeah, I was. Okay. Yeah, he just needs one more. Like he's been on a tear recently. I've always been a believer in him, but like this like I really, really liked what I saw from him in his D-1. And then on the playoffs, he was starting to show that development a bit, and now he's really just one of the best defensemen in this class. I think some of these rankings could be higher, but those who are ranking him inside the top 10 are more than justified in doing so. Man, my throat is gone. I gotta get some tea after this. Um, so yeah, he's gonna be the next prospect I write an article on as the written content becomes more of a focus, as I will be very tied up with academic obligations and other things, making professional moves and various extracurricular activities. What is that? I don't know what that shadow is from. That's funny. Oh, I think I know. Uh, okay. Anyway, you know, I really just, I kind of relish the fact that I just get I really take this as an opportunity just to be myself on cam for over an hour, and as well as talking about this thing I'm so driven about. But yeah, that concludes it for this week's episode. Um, I'll see you when I see you, but you'll see me in other contexts as well. I have been a little more active on X recently. And maybe I'll start using my other personal soapboxes for more sporting oriented things more frequently, just to compensate for the fact that it's unlikely that I'll be recording many episodes of this. It's not paused outright, I don't think, but it's going to be inconsistent enough to where you will not be able to rely on me to put out weekly episodes for the next few months. Um, Maybe this at the start it'll be a little better, but from by the time like the MIAA season is done, I am going to be gone. Like I don't think there's even a fucking prayer that I'll be able to do an episode for like the next like 2 months after that. And even then, like it won't really be the same anyways, because there won't be as many games being played in these sort of leagues. But I'll make up for it by putting out articles sporadically and doing other forms of content. So yeah, that all said, take care. Thank you for continuing to watch slash listen to Black Stitch Hockey's North American Dev Deep Dive. It's Liam Atkinson signing off for who knows how long, but I'll see you again this side or the other to make a reference to the town to give this some local flavor because that script was fucking good. Take care. Have a great weekend.